Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 256, season 11. Today's date is September 19th, 2023, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I will talk about the legendary Chicago sportscaster Lloyd Pettit. I will talk about his career and his life. Also, something a little off the topic is the popularity of wine coolers in the 1980s. Yeah, I remember those. Those were great. Okay, so before we get started, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Imperial Margarine. Who can not forget that commercial? Who can not forget that product when you take a bite out of a piece of bread with that margarine and a crown pops on your head. So here's a commercial from the early 1970s, and it does feature what I just mentioned. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back. Thank you, everyone.
Pass the butter, please, Vicky. Vicky, the butter. Thank you. Hey, what's going on?
It's a crown, love. I switched from butter to Imperial margarine.
You mean this is margarine?
Not just any margarine, Imperial margarine. Once you taste it, you'll agree.
Sure tastes like butter.
Head to Whole Foods Market to jumpstart your January during our New Year boosting event with savings on feel-good favorites store-wide. Save on organic picks, wellness staples, and more all month long.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Imperial Margarine. The product's still around. It was introduced probably in the 1950s, I imagine, or early 60s. Margarine's still popular, sort of. You got to be careful when you eat that because it's cholesterol. When you get older, it's very high, like myself. Other brands are available, like Parquet, Parquet. Also Blue Bonnet, Chiffon. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head. I remember Promise. Do you remember that? That was in the 70s. And I remember William Shatner did the commercials of that. That's something. So, Fleshman's. How could I forget that? My mom uses it, for baking. Yeah, it's good. It really is good. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I was going to talk about the Chicago sportscaster Lloyd Pettit and the popularity of wine coolers from the 1980s. Before I get started, I want to mention a couple of anniversaries and a death. First off, the anniversaries. First one, yesterday was the 60th anniversary of the Patty Duke Show. I love that show. It's great, with starring, of course, Patty Duke. I remember the show when I first watched the show on WGN TV Channel 9 in Chicago. It reruns. It was in the early 70s. And it was great. I was a little boy then. Then they yanked it, and I haven't seen. They didn't syndicate it much after that until I found it on Nick at Night on cable. They brought it back, and then gained a new audience. Yeah, and they liked it. And I don't know if it's on Antenna TV now. I'm not sure, but it's on DVD, and I bought the DVD. And it's a great show. They also did a reunion movie. I don't know when exactly. I think in the 90s, early 2000s. I don't know. I've seen it once. and all the cast members were there. It was wonderful. They did a good job. Yeah, yeah. And Kathy was there. So Patty Duke did her Scottish brogue. Hello, like that. And let's see, second anniversary. Today is the 40th anniversary of Press Your Luck. That show started on this day. The host's name was Peter Termarkin. I can't pronounce his name. Termarkin. I've never seen him before, and he's probably new. I don't know if he hosted a game show before, and he was great. That show aired on Channel 2, WBM TV in Chicago. It was on 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. I watched a couple, I was at school at the time. I was at DeVry, but there were times I had a later class, probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I did watch a couple episodes. This was my aunt's favorite show. She loved this show, which I didn't know. My mom never watched it. She never. And it featured, with the blocks, and you go press your luck. And it goes, doo, 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 and then you have the whammy, that red guy. My mom calls him Satan. She still does. I mean, it's hilarious. They have it, and unfortunately, Peter Tomarkin died a few years ago. Yeah, it's a shame. The show only ran for about 3 years, but reruns popped up on the Game Show Network, and I don't know if they're still airing. No, probably not. But I think it's on what's that one? Buzzer. That's a channel. I think they air it. Yeah, they really do. And but now they have a new Press Your Luck with Elizabeth Banks. She does a good job as a host. The same concept, still there. Only it's an hour-long show, and then they go to the big bucks. That's the second part of the show. I don't really like that, but but it's great. But it's very tense. It has a feeling of tense moments with that. I prefer the older one. That's a lot of fun. It's great. With the 80s clothes and the 80s hairstyles. The hairstyles like that. Yeah, it's still great. I haven't seen the show in a while, the old one, but when I watch Buzzer, it's there. But they showed it on the Game Show Network all the time. It was very popular. I don't know for the reason why they stopped it. I have no idea. Maybe it was ratings. Maybe the host didn't want to do it anymore. I don't know. We'll see. And then I have an announcer of a death. This was singer Roger Whittaker. You may not know him, but you may know his song, "The Last Farewell." This was played on in the late 70s and 1980s on WGN. The logo, when you have the announcer, this is WGN TV Channel 9 in Chicago, and they're dun, 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 that's a song. He was born in Kenya, in Africa, and then he went to England. He had other songs like that. He was a good singer. He died September 13th at the age of 87. One funny thing about this man, when you watch the Benny Hill show, the reruns on Channel 32, WFLD TV, they aired them about 10:30 at night. Benny Hill did a parody of him, and his name was Roger Whittaker. Which was hilarious. It was funny. So I mentioned this to my brother this morning. I told him, Roger Whittaker died. Oh, that's too bad. I remember him from the Benny Hill show. But a lot of people remember him from that song, "The Last Farewell." It's a great song. I have it on my Apple Music. It's a very good song indeed. Well, it's such a shame. Seemed like a nice guy. Great voice. Okay. So let's get started on the show. I will talk about Lloyd Pettit. Who can I forget him? He was a sportscaster in Chicago and Milwaukee. He was born March 22nd, 1927 in Chicago, and he was the announcer, or he did the news in Chicago and Milwaukee as well. He was also the owner of the Milwaukee Admirals. It's a hockey team. And that hockey team was the part of the American Hockey League, AHL, not NHL, like that. But then he was born in Chicago. Then he moved to Milwaukee. And then he went to Northwestern, graduated in 1950. And then he started sport. He did, he broadcasted the news in Milwaukee on, let's see, and WMAW, and then later WTMJ, until 1956. Then he returned into Chicago, and he got hired at WGN TV and WGN Radio, and he was the announcer. He did sportscast. He did the Chicago Cubs. He did the Chicago White Sox. I don't know if he did the Bulls. No, I don't know. I have no idea. Sometimes he was with Jack Brickhouse, or sometimes he was alone, because when he also did the Bears. Yeah, I know Jack Brickhouse did the Bears. He did the Cubs. He did the White Sox. But sometimes if Jack Brickhouse was unavailable to do the Bears, or Lloyd Pettit would cover. Or maybe he did that with the other teams, as well. But he was best remembered as the sportscaster for the Chicago Blackhawks. And I think he loved that sport. He really did. He loved that sport. And he started doing that, and you would... it was like during the 60s, early 70s, and maybe, I think so. And his famous catchphrases was, of course, "Here Come the Hawks." That was based on the song, dun, 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 "Here Come the Hawks, the mighty." I love that song. And also there was, "He shoots and he scores." He said that also, but the famous catchphrase he did was, "There's a shot and a goal." He did that. When I was a kid, I never knew that. I watched hockey, but I never knew it was him that did that. So, so a lot of people remember him for his low-key demeanor. He was not a nut like that. Jack Brickhouse yelled. He was a good announcer, but he was quiet. Well, I think Lloyd Pettit was more reserved, a little bit like that. Then Lloyd Pettit stayed with the Blackhawks until 1976. Well, he retired. I don't know what was the real reason. And I think that was like the broadcasting. The Hawks, I remember they were on Channel 9. Everyone remembered that. They were in the 1970s. No, 1960s, excuse me. And then maybe part of the 1970s. And then it moved to Channel 32 and then to Channel 44. I remember that. And then he was done. And then after he was done broadcasting, Lloyd Pettit and his wife returned to Wisconsin, and they bought the Milwaukee Admirals. And he was responsible to get the Bradley Center built in order to do that in Milwaukee. And now the arena is home to the Milwaukee Bucks, the basketball team. And that's pretty interesting. Okay, right now I'm going to play a clip. This is him at the Chicago Blackhawks. This is with, I'm not sure, it's with Bobby Hull. Oh, no, first it's with Stan Mikita. He did something. And then there was Bobby Hull. He hit his 500th goal. That's monumental. Very historic for the Chicago Blackhawks. So you will hear the the song "Here Come the Hawks, the Mighty Black Hawks." You'll hear a product that's no longer made in the beginning. I won't tell you. I'll let you listen, and then what? So after I play this, segment, I will come back and explain. Okay. So here we go. Thank you, everyone.
The Big One, Meisterbrow, the #1 family of quality beers, present
Here come the Hawks, the mighty Black Hawks. Take the attack, yeah, we'll back you, Black Hawks.
Yes, it's Chicago Blackhawk hockey time. Well, the Blackhawks will want a center. He does deflect it off the side of the cage, and it's on the cords, and the whistle blows. Creech to Marat, Hawk zone, Martin now at his blue line, leading to Dennis Hull at the center line. Dennis Hull to the blue line, takes a check from Harris, and Harris has the puck off the near board. Now center ice play for Dennis Hull. Dennis Hull off the skate of Jimmy Pappin, deflects to Roy Edwards, and he clears it off the near board. Dennis Hull's slap shot is wide to the left. Caroms to the far board of the Detroit zone. Poked at by Martin, kept in by Marat. Marat's wrist shot broken up just as he got it underway. Centered and intercepted by Del Vecchio. Led over the Hawk blue line, down the Hawk zone to the near corner. Stemkowski wanting to center. He does. Deflected away by Esposito and taken by Dennis Hull. To Pitt Martin. Martin overleads Stapleton, and the puck goes to the far board at center ice and Chico Mackey. Chico leads to Dennis Hull. Under his stick, it comes to the near board in the Detroit zone, taken by Gordie Howe. To Stemkowski. Stemkowski trying to return to Howe, taken by Dennis Hull. Dennis Hull leading off the far board to Makita. Makita on the right wing, a slap shot to goal! He digs it out of the corner. He wants to center. He does! And the shot to the goal! I don't know if that's number 500 or not. That's it. That's it. Looks like it may have been Angotti's, but let's go down to Lou.
That was it. Bobby Hull's 500th goal.
All right. Lou Boudreau is now climbing into the penalty box, trying to get Bobby if he can. Bobby is skating up the center line over toward the bench. A standing ovation from a jam-packed crowd here.
Congratulations, Bobby. I know you're very happy, and so is Mrs. Hull and your entire family. They're sitting down there at the end. We're fortunate to have our two boys with us, Bobby and Brett. Blake is homesick, and of course the baby, he doesn't know enough yet. Bobby,
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed that clip with Lloyd Pettit, broadcasting at the Chicago Blackhawks, probably at the Chicago Stadium, I imagine. That's a beautiful moment, for hockey fans, listening to Lloyd Pettit, Stan Mikita scoring a goal, also Bobby Hull scoring his 500th goal. That was greatest moment in sports history. I did a podcast episode about Bobby Hull and Stan Mikita. If you care to listen, search my library on probably on YouTube. Do a search and you'll find it. Okay. As for hockey, I only went to one hockey game once at the Chicago Stadium. It was a friend of my parents. It was a man. He took us, me and my brothers, and we went. He had some tickets, and we went there, and that was fun. We had a good time, And unfortunately, he passed away last year. I haven't seen him in years, not for a long time. But that's a great memory for me. That was the only time I went to the Chicago Stadium. That's it. Never again. I haven't even been to the United Center, because, I'm not into basketball or hockey, but if someone had a ticket, an extra ticket, and invited me to go, invited me to come, I will do that. I will go. Why not? Watching live sports is better than watching on television. It is much better. The experience is different. And that's happened to me when I went to Wrigley Field to see the Cubs. It's nothing like when you watch on television. Yeah. Or going to a hockey. I've never been to a basketball game or a football game. No, I've never been to Soldier Field. I've been once to Soldier Field outside. I was on a Segway. Yeah, they had the Segways there, but never to a game. No one invites me. Well, I'm not into it, so that's okay. But now today, it's sheer lunacy, especially from fans. They talk about it like it's a matter of life or death. Like, yeah, I know you love the game. You're a fan. I get it. But there are other things important, but they ought to calm down. I think another thing that I think it bothers me, excuse me, or other people, they overanalyze things, like these players are under a microscope, or a magnifying glass, just leave them alone. They're doing the best they can, that's how they are. If you love the game, great. Love the sport. Any sport you like, do something to make you happy. That's what counts. Okay. All right. And right now I'm going to talk about, let's see, wine coolers. Yeah, these are wine coolers from the 1980s. I remember this very well. I was in my 20s when these were introduced, starting with the commercials. Most famous commercials indeed, like that. And they were, you're asking, what is a wine cooler? Pretty much it was, they were, just a moment, please. Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry for the pause. I just saw something. So wine coolers, it was like white wine, it's like a spritzer, and then they added citrus and other flavors, so it makes it tasty. They also added sugar. Oh, that's what we need now. So the first, one of the most famous wine coolers was Bartle and James. Yeah, remember them? It was a flavored wine cooler. It was introduced in 1985, and it was produced by the EJ and Gallo Winery. Gallo wines like that. The product line was created. And let's see. Oh, that's my phone. Okay, and let's see. So let's see. It was created by a man named Hal Rini, and he ran the commercial. The commercials ran from from the 80s like to early 90s, and they featured these two older men sitting on a French porch, and they're hawking this product. And the characters was the founders of the names were Frank Bartles and Ed James. Now the men that portrayed them, they were not them. They were actors. It's not them at all. The actor's name, the man who played Frank Bartles is a man named David Ruffcar. He played Frank Bartles, and Dick Mogg, he played Ed James. And they were not actors because David Ruffcar was an Air Force veteran and a cattle rancher from Oregon. And Dick Mogg was a general contractor from Santa Rosa, California. But they fit the bill. They were great like that. And so they were talking like in some folksy accent, like that with the Bartle and James, which was great, great. As for this product, I've tried it. It's not bad, and at the time, they came in some flavors. There was berry, there was a regular flavor, there was also peach, like that. Let's see, I have the picture. No, I don't. Okay, never mind. I'll get to that. Anyway, so they came in a pack like a 4-pack, in bottles like that. I remember buying, a pack of wine coolers. There's a liquor store on South Pulaski Road. It's still there. It's GJ's. I bought it there. I tried it once. It's not bad. It really isn't bad at all, And other wine coolers, other brands, of course, was Sun Country. Remember that one? I remember the commercials. They were very humorous. And let's see, let's see what we've got here. I'll tell you the flavors. I'm going to go down. Okay, let's see what we got. Yeah, so California, Sun Country, I think it came in cherry or berry. No, berry, I think, and that's it. But they had I remember the commercials in the 80s. I remember the one that was some person in a costume as a polar bear, and they would talk in that costume. And they at the end of the commercial, they would reveal who the actor was. One was with Donna Mills from Knots Landing. Another was Richard Mall from Night Court. And I remember at the end of the commercial, he got into his bull character and he he pounced on a table and says, "Squash you like a grape." That's funny, like that. Like that. The other flavor for, I was going to mention, Bartlett and James came in premium red, and it was like a strong berry color. I never tried the berry color. I tried the regular color. California, I'll get to California Cooler in a minute. But Sun Country, that became one of the most popular ones in the 80s. Yeah, like that. I don't think I've tried it. No, I never tried it like that. Okay, the other one I want to mention, let's see, I'll go down there. There was one called Dewey Stevens, and it was kind of light. It had a sugary aroma. It's like bubblegum. It was fruit flavor. I don't remember trying that. No. But I remember when I saw this, I go, yeah, I remember this. I remember this very well. Yeah, like that. Another one was Matilda Bay. I think it was from Australia, but they did bring it to the United States, and I never tried that one either. But I remember the commercials, so that was very nice. Okay, and it was also Fletcher and Oaks. I don't know if you remember that. That's kind of gone, came and went. Now, the most famous one of all, besides Bartlett and James and Sun Country Cooler, was Seagram's. Okay, this one came out in full force because of their advertising, and of course, the spokesperson who did those commercials was none other than Bruce Willis. And this was at the highlight of his career when he starred on Moonlighting, that TV show that ran from 1985 to 1989 with Sybil Shepherd. And I think this is before he started the movies. They probably asked him, "Why don't you hawk this product?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll do it." I remember watching the commercials. Sometimes they aired it during Moonlighting, and they were hilarious. And like that, and he talked very soft spoken. He did that, and so the flavors of Seagram's came out like apple cranberry, wild berries, cherry cooler, also in the clear dry classic. Yeah, it was no, that wasn't it. Sorry. Yeah, so they had so we had natural apple cranberry, original wild berry sorbet, and I have the photo right here. Excuse me, I will bring it up. I will tell you. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it had natural peach, wild berry, natural citrus, also the regular flavor. Yeah, they had natural peach, natural apple cranberry, original wild berry, natural citrus, and of course the golden one. The wine cooler. That's the one that Bruce Willis advertised the most. I don't know about the others. You can find the commercials on YouTube. I think all of them there featuring Bruce Willis. As a matter of fact, I did try this wine cooler with Seagram's. I think it was the golden one. It was okay. It was kind of dry. I should have tried the flavor ones, but I didn't. I should try the berry. That might have been better. Okay, right now I'm going to play a commercial featuring I'm sorry. I'm going to play a commercial for Seagram's Wine Cooler that features Bruce Willis. Also, there is a woman in this commercial. I won't tell you who it is. You have to listen carefully to her voice, and it's a famous actress. When I come back, I will tell you who it is. Okay? All right, so here we go. Thank you, everyone.
What would you like?
Oh, I don't know. What do I feel like?
Why not try something you've never had before?
Is that a line?
No, it's a drink. Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler. It's wet, it's dry, it's new, and it's Seagram's.
You sound like a commercial.
You buying it?
The drink? Yeah, but not the line.
It's a start.
New Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler. It's wet and it's dry.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Seagram's Wine Cooler featuring Bruce Willis and this famous actress. It was none other than Sharon Stone. And this commercial came out in 1986. Yeah. So she didn't become that famous after she starred in Total Recall, a 1990 movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've seen it. Love with the exploding head. And of course, Basic Instinct in the 90s that she starred with Michael Douglas in Sliver. You know, she's still acting. You know, you don't see her much, you know, but she's a very pretty lady. You know, very pretty indeed. I don't know if I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I mentioned California Cooler. That was another brand. I remember the most famous commercial of that was there was these two guys. One guy came into the bar and he goes, "I hate California," and he looked at the bottle first and he goes, "Surf Sop, The only thing that's interesting was yogurt." You can find that commercial on YouTube. It's hilarious. I tried that one. Yeah, it was pretty good. But they had I think they had real pieces of fruit in it. You know, I think they did. I'm not sure. But it was okay. As for Sun Country Cooler, they had the commercial. They had other celebrities. I remember one with Ringo Starr from the Beatles. They had him. He did that as well. Now, before I sign off, I want to explain what happened to wine coolers. Why you don't see them anymore, and there is a reason for that. It is taxes. That's why. They had a nation's excise tax on wine, and they raised it from let's see, 0.17 0.17 per gallon to a whopping $1.07, 1.07, and it was expensive. How do you like that? So gone. So they spawned the malt-based beverages. They changed to that, like that. Like, for example, Smirnoff Ice, Mike's Hard Lemonade, and I like. Ooh, that's strong. I like it, but I drink it slow. I like lemonade, but not that. Also, Zima. That's from the 90s. Remember that clear thing? I never tried it. I should have, like that. But, California Cooler is gone. Sun Country is gone. The rest I mentioned is gone. Only Barton and James is still around. And they sort of make, they still make it. But it's not the same in the 80s. No. You can still find it at liquor stores or drugstores. You can buy it. Maybe someday I'll buy it and try it out. I don't know if it'll be the same. I have no idea. I don't know. But yeah, that product is still there. That company's still in business, which is amazing. But, alcoholic drinks change. Some have remained, some have changed, some have gone away. That's how it is, but that's really something, I like the wine coolers. I really did. And as for Bruce Willis, after he'd done the commercials, he left moonlighting and became a big, big major star from Die Hard. I like the movie, but that's fine. Unfortunately, he's very sick. he has aphasia or something with the dementia or, the memory. That is terrible. Terrible shame. I feel for their family. I have prayers for him. That's terrible for him. He's a likable guy. He really is. He's just he makes you laugh. He really does. He was great in Moonlighting. Excellent. They don't broadcast. I'm sorry, they don't broadcast the show anymore. It's not a rerun. It's not really, unless it's on streaming, if you can find it. I have the DVD. I've seen it. I saw it broadcast. I didn't see the last step of the season. It wasn't that good because during the show, Sybil Shepherd got pregnant and there was fighting, and they didn't film many episodes, and it was a huge mess. It's still a good show. Great 80s show. And I have it on DVD. I saw the entire thing all the way. Might rewatch it again. We'll see. All right. Another thing I want to mention about Lloyd Pettit. Everyone is commenting on Facebook, most on X or Twitter, and they love that man. They miss that man. He was wonderful. He had a great voice. He was a great sportscaster. Great for the Hawks. And they did the shot and the goal, they did that. They mentioned that they miss him. He was great. I think he was better than Jack Brickhouse or any other, or Harry Carey. They were all great. So they really liked the man. They really did. Okay, so that's it for this program. Do a recap real quickly. I talked about the legendary Chicago sportscaster Lloyd Pettit and the popularity of the wine coolers in the 1980s. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available, wherever app you can hit on your phone or your iPad, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, over Breaker, Overcast. You can listen to that. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel, Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Do a search, hit subscribe. I think that's the easiest way for people to listen. Also, it'll be published on my blog, vanishchicagoland.blog. Also, be shared on my social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, also called X. I still call it Twitter. And also be posted on my Instagram and Threads account. You can find it there. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host of Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Today is a kind of a wet, cold day. I'm going to get some lunch right now. So here's bye-bye for me. And, before I say goodbye, I'll probably do another podcast episode this weekend. We shall see. Okay. I hope it's a dandy one. Okay. Oh, one last mention. Today is the 53rd anniversary of Creature Features on WGN TV, Channel 9. Happy anniversary. Yeah, I did some stuff if you want to look at it. Video, story, you name it, it's all there. Just do a search on my accounts. Okay, so here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music from Ray Rayner saying bye-bye-bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.